Hi everyone, my name is Zoe. Thanks so much for joining me. This will be a Hatha style yoga class. So grab your mat, a towel or a blanket, and 2 blocks. And then when you're ready, you can join me in a seat. Okay, so grab one of your blocks and place it on the mat if you haven't done so already. And then shift your sit bones up on top of that block. You can let your knees, your legs fall down towards the mat. And you can let your hands come down to your knees. Let your eyes come closed or your gaze can soften. Inhale, get tall through the crown of your head. Exhale, let your seat be nice and sturdy, nice and long through your spine. Inhale here, grow tall up to the sky. Then exhale, let yourself really sink down onto that block. If you want to wiggle around, find a comfortable position. Then your next inhale, you can reach your fingertips up and overhead, look up. Exhale, twist from your belly button over to the left, let your hands come down. You can look out to the left, maybe to the back of the room. Some pretty epic waves out there today. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, twist a little more. Hopefully I don't get washed away. One more inhale. And then exhale, untwist, come back towards middle. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, this time twist over to the right. Let your hands come down. Inhale, get long to the crown of your head. Exhale, twist over. One more breath here. Inhale, long. Exhale, twist. And then your next exhale, you can untwist, come back towards middle. Inhale, reach your fingertips back up towards the sky. Exhale, let your right arm come down to the ground. You can reach your left hand over your ear, or you can grab a block. And let your right hand come down to a block, reach your left hand over your ear. Inhale, really get long through your left side body. Exhale, tilt just a little bit more over to the right. One more breath in and out. And then inhale, come back up towards middle. You can shift your block over to the left. And then let your left hand come down. Reach your right hand up and over your ear. Again, lift your right ribs up towards the ceiling. Let your right fingertips come down towards the ground. One more breath in. One more breath out. And then inhale, come back up. And let your hands come down to your legs. And you can plant your hands in front of you. Slide the block out from underneath your seat. And then place your blocks at the top of your mat. You can roll over your shins, step your legs back, find tabletop. So have your hands underneath your elbows, underneath your shoulders, and your knees underneath your hips. Inhale, get long to the crown of your head and your sacrum. Exhale, pull your core in just a little bit, engage those inside muscles. And then your next inhale, drop your belly and get broad across your collarbones. Lift your chin, lift your tailbone up towards the sky. Big breath in. And exhale, press the mat away. Lift the back of your heart up towards the sky. Take a long breath out. And again, inhale. Drop your belly. Tilt your ends of your spine up towards the sky. Big breath in. And exhale, tilt everything down towards the mat. Lift the back of your heart up towards the ceiling. Long breath out. Take a few more rounds here. And then the next time you find yourself in middle, you can stay there. Inhale, get long through your spine. Exhale, shift your hips over to your right. Look over your right shoulder. See if you can see your edge of your hip back there, or maybe your right foot. Inhale, feel your side body expand out towards the left. Exhale, twist over in a C shape a little bit more. And then inhale, come back towards middle. Exhale, C shape over to the left. Shift your hips over to the left, look over your left shoulder. Maybe look back at your left toes, your left hip. Inhale, feel your right side body expand out to the side of the room. And let yourself tip over in a little C, just a little bit more. And then inhale, come back towards middle. Good. Inhale again, get long. Exhale, engage your core. And then let your weight come down into your left hand. You can lighten up the weight in your right fingertips. And then lift your hand up to a block. So you can keep the weight light. You can use this for balance. And then if this feels comfortable, you can start to extend, lift and extend your left heel, your left foot out long behind you. And if this feels good, you can lift your toes up. You can place a block back there underneath your toes if you want to try that. And you can keep the weight light in your extended toe, your extended fingertips. Just use them for balance. Press down strong through your bottom hand, your bottom foot. Get really long from fingertip to toe. And then exhale, you can step everything back down to the mat. Let's shift our blocks to the other side. Inhale to get long in your spine. Exhale, let your weight come down into your right hand this time. Lighten up the weight in your left hand. You can place your left hand up on a block. That's comfortable. You can extend your right toes out long behind you. Then lift your right heel up. Maybe your toes can land on a block. And again, press down strong through your bottom hand, your bottom leg. Keep the weight light in your block. One more breath here, strong in the core. And then your next exhale, you can land your hand, land your foot down on the mat. Good. Shift both blocks to the front of your mat. Maybe have them on small setting, but up to you. I'll go this way. And then point your hands, one hand on each block. Extend one foot out behind you. Give a little heel stretch. And land your knee. Extend the other foot out behind you. Little heel stretch. Press your toes. Then land it back down. Then roll both toes underneath you. Press down strong into your hands, strong into your toes. Lift your knees. Come up just an inch. Strong through your core. Exhale. Land back down. You can untuck your toes. You can have a seat or come down to a little child's pose. One breath. And lift your hips back up. Tuck both toes under. Press strong into your blocks. Strong into your toes. Lift your knees just an inch off the mat and then lift your hips all the way up. And then slide your weight back down over your feet. So you can play around with your blocks here. What height makes sense for you. Take a few breaths here in down dog. You can pedal out your feet. Maybe twist from side to side. Maybe roll forward and backwards just a little bit. And on your next inhale, start to walk your toes up towards your hands. When you get there, you can find forward fold. So again, maybe play around with the heights of your blocks. Inhale here. Lift your hips high up towards the sky. Then exhale, let your torso come down over your legs. You can hang pretty heavy. Keep a little bend in your knees. And then on your next inhale, start to roll up towards standing. You can leave your hands on your legs, on your body to help you. Go all the way up, leave your head for last, and scrunch your shoulders up towards your ears. And exhale, roll your shoulders down your back, but your palms face forward. Find Tadasana. You can let your gaze become unfocused, or your eyes can close if you feel balanced here. So this class is all on blocks. I just want you to take a moment to notice if you have any previous relationship with blocks, any preconceived notions about blocks. They're in basically every yoga studio if you go in person, but sometimes they're not used as much as other yoga tools like the mat or a towel or a chair. So this class is meant to show an example of some ways you might use a block in other classes, in the studio, even if it's not taught or your teacher isn't suggesting it. If it works for you, you can always carry this with you into your practice in the future. Okay, so just take a little notice of any prior relationship, physically, emotionally, you have with the blocks. Become aware of that. And then inhale, reach your fingertips up to the sky, look up. Exhale, dive it down towards the ground. Keep a little bend in your knee, come into forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. You can press your hands down into the blocks on the tall setting or into your legs. And then exhale, fold forward. And here you can lay your blocks maybe on the smallest setting. Inhale, press up halfway again. And then step one foot back, and then the other. Come into plank. You can land your knees or stay with your knees elevated. Take one breath here. Press down strong, get long through your spine. Exhale, really engage your core. Press into your feet. And then your next breath, you can land your knees. Then place one block maybe in the center of your body, under your chest. And then land both hands down on the mat. Step your feet out, one and then the other. Come back into your plank. Or keep your knees on the mat. Shift your weight forward over your hands. So find your plank. And then bend your elbows. Lower your chest all the way down until it comes onto the block. And then once you're touching the block, you can land your knees. Move the block out from underneath you and come all the way down. Let's chaturanga, using the block as a little, using the block as a guide. You can land your ear down on the mat. Let everything be heavy and soft. And then the next time you inhale, use that air to float your torso up off the mat. You don't need to press into your hands. Just lift your torso up. Keep the back of your neck long. And then exhale. Let everything come down to the mat. Take one long breath here. And then on your next inhale again, peel your torso up off the mat, neck long, weight light in your hands. Let your lower body, your feet, your legs be heavy on the mat. Ardha Bhujangasana, baby cobra. And then let everything come back down. One more time, inhale. Peel your shoulders up off the mat. And then this time, if it's comfortable, you can slide your forearms in underneath your shoulders. Your hands can press down into the mat. Really lift up out of your shoulders here. Let your lower body be heavy. Inhale, get long through your spine. And then exhale, you can walk your arms back out underneath you. And let everything land back down on the mat. Good. Slide your hands underneath your shoulders. Press yourself up, lift up, come back into tabletop. And then you can separate your knees wide or keep them in close. And then place a block between your heels and sit down onto that block. And then walk your hands out in front of you. You can use your second block and place it down in front of you. And then land your forehead, down on that block. Find your child's pose. And then take a few breaths here. Feel your back body expand up towards the sky. And let everything be heavy. And again, tune into your relationship with blocks today. Notice if you feel like you either, quote, need the blocks, or, quote, don't need the blocks. Just notice if those kinds of thoughts come up. And then maybe notice if you ever feel that way towards your mat, or your towel, or another yoga prop. We can just treat blocks like the mat, like the towel, as something we use that supports us, supports our practice in many different ways. And then inhale, walk your hands under your shoulders, lift your hips up, come back to tabletop. You can move your blocks out from underneath you. You can place your blocks maybe on the low setting on in front of you. Inhale, step one foot back, then the other, plank again. This time, sink your hips down, flip your feet so the tops of your feet are pressing into the mat, and then press down into the blocks, lift up, look up, find upward facing dog. Good. Let your lower body get heavy, press strong enough down into your hands, and then land your knees, lift your hips, come back into table. Good. Curl both toes underneath, press down strong into the mat through your feet. Inhale, lift your hips all the way up, and then slide your weight back over your heels. Find downward dog. Take one breath here. And then on your next inhale, lighten up the weight in your right foot, maybe sweep it up towards the sky. And then exhale, hug your knee in towards your chest, step your foot up between your hands, between your blocks. Find low lunge. You can shift around the height of your blocks. Find what works for you. And then inhale, root down through your left hand and start to twist open towards the right. So maybe this hand can come to a block in the tall setting. Maybe you reach all the way up to the sky. One breath here, get long from fingertip to fingertip. And then exhale. You can land your hands back down on your blocks. Draw energy into your center from foot to foot. Rise up, find high lunge. You can take your blocks here. Maybe place them in the tall setting on your either side of your hips or your foot. Reach up, and then let your hips sink down towards the mat. Find crescent lunge here. You can press your weight down strong into your blocks. Let your hips sink down towards the mat. And then lift your hips back up into your lunge, and then step your back foot up a couple steps. Inhale, get long, maybe press your fingertips into your block. Then exhale, fold forward over that front leg. You can pull your right hip back in line with your left hip. And keep a little bend in both knees. Let your head come down, find pyramid. One more breath here. And then your next inhale, you can lift your back foot up, look forward, step up, find your Uttanasana, your forward fold. Inhale to lift up halfway. Your hands can come up to your blocks in the tall setting. And then exhale, come back down, forward fold. And on your next inhale, start to roll up, vertebra by vertebra. Reach everything up to the sky at the top. And exhale, your hands come down, find your Tadasana. One breath here. They root down through your feet, lift up to the crown of your head. And then inhale, reach your fingertips up to the sky. Exhale, dive down towards the ground. Inhale, lift up halfway. And then exhale, step your feet back into your plank. Again, you can use the center block for chaturanga. Maybe the tall height, maybe middle height. Inhale here, get long, and then exhale, lower down into your chaturanga. Once your chest hits that block, you can land your knees. You press yourself back up. And then lay your blocks under your hands. Inhale, extend one foot, and then the other, find your plank again. And then let your hips drop down towards the mat, flip your feet, press down into the blocks, lift your chest. Find your upward facing dog. Inhale here. If you want to try, you can roll your toes underneath your feet here, press down into the mat, and then lift your hips all the way up, big V shape, and then shift your weight over your feet so your heels sink down towards the mat, downward dog. Good, another breath here. And then we'll go to the other side. So inhale, this time your left leg can come up towards the sky, and then exhale as you squeeze your knee in towards your chest, step your foot up between your hands. Inhale here, get long. Then exhale, root down into your right hand, start to twist open towards your left. Your left fingertips can come to your block, maybe on the tall setting, or maybe reach all the way up toward the sky. Inhale here, and exhale. Let your hand come back down to your block. You can shift them up to the tall setting. Press down into your hands, into your feet. Come up into high lunge. And sweep your hands down to your blocks by your foot, by your hips. Then let your hips sink down to crescent lunge. You can land your knee behind you if that's comfortable for you, or leave it lifted. And then inhale, lift back up into your lunge and step your back foot forward. Land your whole foot down on the mat. Your toes might point out at a 45-degree angle. Inhale, lift up halfway, fingertips to the top of your block. Then exhale, fold forward over your front leg. Find pyramid on this side. Long breaths here. If your right hip is reaching forwards, you can just pull it back. One more breath here. Keep a little bend in your knees. And then inhale, press down into your blocks. Lift your back heel up and then step your foot forward. And again, find forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. And then inhale, start to roll up vertebra by vertebra. Your hands can trace along your legs. Scrunch everything up. Reach up, look up. And then exhale, let your hands come down to your side. Your palms can face forward. Your shoulder blades squeeze together. Find your Tadasana. Good. Take another moment to check in. Maybe notice if there was anything that you thought the blocks would be good for, that you wanted to try, or anything that didn't work for you, that felt cumbersome or restrictive. Just make a note to yourself for the future. And then inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold down. This time, just grab your blocks and place them to the outside of your feet. Okay, and you can roll back up, reach up to Tadasana, and then land your hands on your hips. Okay, root all your weight down into your left foot. So spread your toes, really make full contact with your foot in the mat, and lighten up the weight in your right toes. Your toes can come up. And then lift your knee, open it over to the side like a gate being opened, and plant your foot down on this block. You can slide it in a little closer or keep it out. Maybe plant your whole foot, maybe your toes. Maybe your block slides in all the way to your foot and your toes stay on the ground and your heel comes down to the block. So just experiment with this tree pose variation. And then when you have a stable, comfortable tree, inhale, reach your fingertips up and overhead. Let your arms come out wide. Big tall tree in the wind. And then exhale, your hands can come back down to your waist. You can step your right foot back down to the mat. And then we'll go to the other side. So really root down into your right foot. Have all your toes touching the mat, your heel. Lighten up the weight in your left toes. Spin your leg open, like you're opening a door. And then play around on this side. Maybe your foot, maybe just your toes, maybe just your heel can come down to the block. Notice if this tree, maybe this side is a different shape than the other side. And then when you're ready, inhale, reach your branches up toward the sky. Exhale, maybe grow a little wider, maybe a little taller. Full breath here. Really root down into your feet, into the earth, into the block, into the mat. And then exhale, let your hands come down. You can step your foot off your block. Then move your blocks out in front of you and step your feet out a little bit wide, maybe the width of your hips. Inhale here, and then exhale. Fold forward from your hips. You can keep your hands on your hips here. And then let your hands come down to your blocks, whatever setting feels good for you. And then you can let your head come down, find a wide leg forward fold. On your next inhale, press down into your right hand. You can slide your right hand to be a little further in towards center. You can lift your left block up towards the high setting and then start to twist your belly button over towards the left. Your fingertips come up to your block. Maybe they reach all the way up to the sky. Let's find a little bit of a twist. Open towards the left. One more breath in here. And exhale, come down to the middle. Switch your blocks, so slide your left block in towards the middle. And your right block can come up towards the tall setting. And then inhale, twist your belly button open to the right. Inhale here, get long through your spine. Exhale, twist open just a little more. One more breath. And you can twist back down towards middle. And then inhale, hands can come to your hips. Just come all the way back up towards standing. Good. This time pivot your left toes out towards the front. And your left heel can come maybe down towards the back left corner of your mat. Bend into your front knee. And then if you want to try with a block, you can lay a block down on the mat and step your foot up onto your block. Get a little bend in your knee. So maybe notice how that feels. Then you can step your second block to the back of your mat. Then extend your fingertips out long once you have a stable warrior two foundation in your lower body. Bring your fingertips out long to a T. Really reach from fingertip to fingertip. Inhale. Exhale, sink down into your front leg. And then land your forearm on top of that leg. Reach your right fingertips over your ear. Find extended side angle. Inhale here, get long through your side body. Exhale to tip over just a little bit more. Reach your fingertips out towards the front of your mat. And then inhale, come back up towards warrior two. Exhale, find surrendering warrior. You can slide your hands down your back leg. Maybe your fingertips come to a block. Inhale here, reach up with your left fingertips. Exhale, bend into your front knee. And then inhale, come back up towards middle. Then you can pivot your toes back towards center. Step your front foot off your block. We'll go to the other side. So lay your block, one at the front, one at the back. Maybe they're at different settings. And pivot your toes towards the front of the back of your mat this time. Land your foot on your block. And maybe heel toe your back foot out. You find a little bit of an angle in your foot. Inhale here, exhale, bend down into your front knee. Good, once you have a good warrior two foundation, inhale, bring your fingertips out long, arms out wide to a T. Inhale, you look over your front hand. One more breath here. You can land your forearm on your bent leg and reach your left fingertips over your ear. Inhale, get long through your left side body. Exhale, reach your fingertips over your ear. And just notice how this warrior two feels. Inhale, come back up towards middle. Then exhale in your back arm, let it slide down your back leg, reach your fingertips to the back of the mat. Hopefully you're doing this class in a less turbulent sea. And inhale, come back up towards middle. Exhale, pivot your toes back toward the front. You can step down off of your block. You can place your hands on your hips, step your feet back in towards middle. Find your Tadasana. Let your eyes come close so your gaze can soften. And then again, just reflect on those positions, those asanas, those poses. How did you feel towards the block? How did the block feel with your body? Did it feel open and accessible? Maybe strained and cramped? Whatever it felt, just notice. Make a note, maybe. And notice if you have any emotional reaction to the blocks. Maybe it feels like it would be embarrassing or empowering. Maybe it feels scary or exciting, fresh. Notice any emotional reactions that come up. And then inhale, reach your fingertips up toward the sky. Exhale, dive down. Place your blocks in front of you under your hands, find your forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. And then exhale. Maybe move your blocks to your lower setting. And step your feet back into plank. One breath here. Press down to your hands, down into your toes. Engage your core. And then inhale, lift your hips all the way up and slide your weight back over your heels. Find your downward dog. Line up the weight in your left foot. Maybe sweep your leg high. And then hug your knee in towards your chest. Come forward. Lay your left leg down on the mat. You can slide your right leg out long behind you. Untuck your toes. Lay your leg all the way down. And you can take one of your blocks. Maybe slide it under your hip, under your sit bones, under your leg. And take your other block, place it in front of you. And if it's comfortable, you can walk your hands forward. Maybe your forehead comes down to the block. Just take a few minutes to play around with the positions of the block, of your body. And then let yourself come down. Take long breaths here, all the way down into your pelvis, all the way out. Notice how it feels, the block underneath. Notice if you feel like you can surrender, relax, come down. Or maybe you feel like you're pressing, resisting, or lifting. And on your next inhale, you can walk your hands in underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes, and then press strong into your foot, strong into your hands. Lift your bottom leg back up, find downward dog. You walk it out here, and then lift your right toes up. Squeeze your knee in towards your chest, and then lay your right leg down on the mat in front of you. Slide a block in on this side. You can straighten your back leg out. Let your back foot come down. And then find a comfortable position for the block on this side. Again, maybe walk your hands out long, let your forehead come down. Take some long breaths here. Hands back and underneath your shoulders. Tuck your toes behind you. And then press into your hands, press into your foot. Come up, back into your downward dog. And then land your knees. Move your block out from underneath you. And then sit on one side or the other. Just have a seat on your mat. And then slowly roll all the way down. Good. You place one block on the mat underneath your left foot, and then lift your right foot up off the mat, and use your hands guide your right knee, or guide your right foot over your left knee. Inhale here. And supine pigeon. Just let your bent knee sort of fall down towards the ground, towards your foot, towards the back of the mat. Take long breaths all the way into your belly, all the way into your hips, all the way down to your pelvis. And then you can fully use your hands to guide your bent foot off of your knee. Slide your block over in front of your right foot, and then place your right foot up on the block. Bend your left knee towards your chest, and lay your left foot over your right knee. Find supine pigeon on this side. And then use your hands to guide your bent knee off of your, guide your bent leg off of your knee. And slide your block out from underneath you. Okay, inhale here. Lay your right leg out long on the mat. Pull your toes up towards the ceiling. And then hug your left knee in towards your chest. You can give it a little hug or a little rock around. And then use your hands, guide your knee all the way across your body. Twist over, slide a block underneath your knee. Extend your left arm out long in the mat and you look over your left shoulder. Inhale here, get long through your center axis. Exhale, let gravity twist you open. You're going to play around, find the height of the block or its position that works for you. Maybe you slide under your knee, maybe under your leg. Maybe under your foot. One more breath here. And then lift your knee, guide it back up towards center, and then lay your left leg out long. Good. Inhale, squeeze your right knee into your chest. You give it a little roll around. Then bring your other block out towards your side and twist your knee over your body. Come down to that block. Extend your right hand out long. Maybe look over your right shoulder. And again, notice if this side feels any different than the other side. Notice if having the block underneath you lets you surrender down, feel supported. Maybe you feel like you're lifting and resisting. Notice if you have any judgment or criticism towards the block. Feels like it means you're not doing it right. Or maybe it feels like you're striving for another level. Just recognize those feelings, these sensations. And then inhale, lift your leg, twist back towards middle. Good. Bend both knees up towards the ceiling. Spread your toes out wide. Then press into your feet. So roll your spine up towards the bridge. And take a block. Slide it underneath your sacrum, underneath your low back, your sit bone, your hips. And then let yourself come rest down on that block. Find supported bridge. And then inhale, press into your feet, lift your hips up, slide the block out from underneath you. Lay both blocks on either side of your hips, on either side of your knees, and slide your feet together. So the soles of your feet come together like butterfly or like prayer. Then let your knees fall out wide. Let them come to rest on the blocks. You can play around, find a setting or position that feels comfortable for you. And then maybe let one hand come to rest on your belly, the other hand on your heart. See if you can let your legs get really heavy into the blocks. Notice any reactions, any judgments, any thoughts. Notice your attitude towards being supported, being uplifted, having a little extra space in your practice. See if you can just treat the blocks as another extension of your mat, as another tool that just supports and uplifts you. That expands your practice. Another extension of the ground, of the earth. See if you can let yourself feel really heavy. Let all of your weight transfer down into the blocks, down into the mat, down into the ground. You can stay here, or you can slide your blocks out from underneath your legs and let your feet come out long. You can let the backs of your hands come down to the ground. Maybe find your Shavasana. We'll take one more breath in together. In, one breath out. And again, see if you can let yourself take a few moments just to be carried along by the planet beneath you. You can stay here for as long as you like. If you're ready to wake up your body and start to move your fingers and toes, maybe your feet and your hands. And then in a slow, careful way, bring yourself up to a seat. You can slide a block underneath your sit bones. Let your knees come down to the ground. You can leave your eyes closed or your gaze unfocused. You get here, inhale long, drawing your spine up towards the sky. And as you exhale, let your seat get heavy onto the block. Maybe your legs get heavy onto the ground. And you can place one hand over your heart, the other hand on top. And drop your chin down towards your chest. Take a moment to say thank you to yourself for practicing today. Maybe thank yourself for trying new things, making new space, letting yourself be supported a little bit more. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon.